Hasn't happened yet. Hopefully someday, Vinegar Syndrome, I'm looking at you. Actually, I'm just looking at trees if I look off to the distance, but imagine, Vinegar Syndrome, I'm looking at you. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am the Horror Sensei, and today I'm coming at you from a cabin in the woods. I can't make this up, okay? So I'm out here, I'm camping in a cabin surrounded by woods, and I thought, what better time to talk about my personal favorite being trapped in the woods outdoor horror movies. It's like a perfect time, right? I think so. So I have compiled a list of 13 movies from my collection. Now, these are only movies that I own that I would highly recommend checking out if you are out camping, sleeping in a tent, going for a hike and want to take your iPad with you. Whatever it is you're doing outdoors, in the woods, in a foresty area, these are 13 movies from my collection that I would definitely recommend checking out, okay? Now, we all know the classics, and yeah, I'll talk about them. We all know Blair Witch Project, we all know The Evil Dead, and I'm going to talk about them. But I also wanted to put some lesser known films in my list. So I have a few on here that I consider kind of hidden gems of the horror scene. So if you haven't seen them, be sure to check them out, okay? No order. There's no, order to this at all. I'm just going to start randomly grabbing movies that I have on this stack. Seems like a good idea. Okay, let's start off with a big one. We all know Bruce Campbell, Sam Raimi. We all know The Evil Dead. Obviously, one of the classic outdoors, cabin in the woods type movies. But honestly, the remake, Evil Dead, is really good. It's probably one of the best remakes out there. Jane Levy stars in it, who I think is an awesome actress. Follows the same basic plot as the original, just with updated gore, kind of an updated storytelling. I really love it. The blood, the effects in this movie are outstanding, and Jane Levy kind of knocks it out of the park. So if you're a fan of The Evil Dead and maybe of kind of a scoffed at remakes, I would definitely go ahead and check out the remake to Evil Dead. Really good movie. Next up on my list is one of those hidden gems, and that is The Dark Half. Now, this is from a story from Stephen King and directed by George Romero. This is a Scream Factory release, in addition there. Now, it doesn't all take place outdoors like you might consider a camping outdoor in the woods movie to be. Quite a lot of it takes place in the city, but there is a cabin. The finale of the movie takes place in the cabin. There's a sense of secludedness in the movie and kind of a feeling of claustrophobia especially towards the end of the movie. That's why I would definitely check out The Dark Half by Stephen King and George Romero. Here's a little synopsis from the back. It says, horror writer Thad Beaumont hopes to distance himself from the murder novels and from George Stark, the name he has used to anonymously author them. To achieve this, he cooks up a murder to play out in real life, a publicity stunt that should lay Stark to rest forever. But when the people around him are gruesomely slain and his own fingerprints dot the crime scenes, Beaumont is dumbfounded until he learns that Stark has taken on a life of his own and begun a gruesome quest for vengeance. This stars Timothy Hutton in it, and it also has Michael Rooker is in this one also, so definitely check it out. Next up, a pretty big one that I'm sure we all know of, and it's even a modern horror movie, and that is The Cabin in the Woods, appropriately titled, right? Pretty cool slip cover there. Now, this one did just get a steelbook release from Best Buy, I believe to celebrate the 10th year anniversary of this one coming out. I'm not positive, but I think so. This one is pretty cut and dry, you think, at the beginning of it. A group of friends go out to a secluded area in the wilderness to rent a cabin, stay there, and then all kinds of stuff happens, very Evil Dead-like. But then the ending of the movie kind of throws that whole thing on its back, and you get a completely different story out of this than probably what you expect going into it. So, yeah, we probably all know it, but still, a really fun movie to check out if you're out camping. Next one is a personal favorite of mine, and that is a Vinegar Syndrome release. Madman tells the tale of Madman Mars. An awesome 80s slasher movie set in the woods. Really fun movie here. Really fun song with the Madman Mars song. You know, on the back here it says, years ago, Madman Mars violently murdered his family only to escape into the woods before his execution could be completed. Legend has it that anyone who calls his name above a whisper can summon him back to continue his bloody rampage. So pretty cool stuff there. Pretty cut and dry 80s slasher movie set in the woods, but still offers a ton of fun. And the killer, Madman Mars, is a big beast of a guy, so I think that's all the more fun. Next up is probably a little known film. Gonna have to tell me if you guys have seen this one. It's called The Monster. I hate how they put the tape over the name of the movie sometimes. How they put that little thing from Best Buy. Messes up the movie, the slipcover. It's okay. This one's called The Monster. Now, this one's actually put out from A24. It's an A24 film, really before A24 got the reputation that it has today. Again, this one's not a group of people go out camping or they're staying at a cabin or anything like that. This one, a mom and her daughter, I believe, are in a car accident, and their car is stranded there on the side of the road in a very wooded area. And it kind of plays out there in that location over that night with this creature hunting them. So it is definitely a creature feature, and it is from director Brian Bertino. And if that name sounds familiar, that is because he is the director of The Strangers. So, awesome movie. If you're a fan of The Strangers, if you're a fan of Brian Bertino, go ahead and check out The Monster. Highly recommend checking that film out. Next up, one of my all-time favorite movies. This one has me excited, guys. One of the movies that I've been craving so long to get a good Blu-ray release. Hasn't happened yet. Hopefully someday, Vinegar Syndrome, I'm looking at you. Actually, I'm just looking at trees if I look off to the distance. But imagine, Vinegar Syndrome, I'm looking at you. And that is Wendigo. God, I love this movie. It is filled with early 2000s nostalgic for me. It is about, the myth of the Wendigo, the urban legend, the creature. Probably we're all familiar with that creature by now, or at least if you watched Supernatural before, you know what it is. Now this stars Jake Reber and Patricia Clarkson, and they both do a phenomenal job in this movie. Here's what it says on the back. As Kim and George and their son Miles drive to the Catskills to spend a weekend away, they accidentally hit a deer and are run off the road. But what seems to be a mere occurrence of misfortune marks the beginning of a terrifying journey, where myth becomes reality and an evil spirit, half man and half animal, haunts a small town. This came out in 2002, guys. So, like I said, full of that early 2000s nostalgia. If you're a fan of that time frame in movies, we all know I am. Go ahead and check out Wendigo. You will not be disappointed. I will promise that. It is a great movie. Next up, here's a big one. I told you we're going to talk about some of the bigger names too. We got to put them on the list, man. Come on. We got to put Cabin Fever, the Eli Roth film. We got to put that one on the list. Classic cabin in the woods type movie, early 2000s, and the best character I can recall is Dennis. the kid from the gas station who just starts randomly screaming pancakes and doing karate. Hello, Dennis. You're awesome, and you're my favorite character now. Pancakes! Yes, pancakes for you, Dennis. If you haven't seen Cabin Fever, I don't know how you would have not seen Cabin Fever by now, but if you haven't, go check it out. You'll not be disappointed. Now here's one. I tried to stay away from like the Friday the 13th, obviously, and the sleepaway camps, movies like that. I tried to stay away from, but this 80s camp slasher is too good for me to stay away from. The Burning. Fantastic film. One of the ultimate camp slashers that came out in the 80s. Also, if you're a Seinfeld fan, stars a very young George Costanza. Jason Alexander's in this movie, so even more reason to check it out. Pretty standard slasher fare, pretty cut and dry stuff. On the back it says, a group of summer camp pranksters get the scare of their lives when they target the camp's creepy caretaker, and he takes bloody revenge. This terrifying tale is a brilliant slasher flick and gory as hell. So, if you haven't checked out The Burning, if you've missed it somehow, go ahead and do yourself a favor and check out this one. If you're a fan of like camp slashers, kind of like Friday the 13th or Sleepaway Camp, movies like that. And this one is another one of my hidden gems. And again, it's from the early 2000s. I believe 2004 is when this movie came out. It rates. Really fun. Again, this is kind of a creature feature movie also that takes place in the woods. Serena Vincent stars in this one, who did a lot in the early 2000s. Seemed like she was going to like take over kind of, and then she kind of fell off. So Serena Vincent, if you're a fan of hers, check this one out. On the back it says there, it is a vengeful beast of Native American legend, sealed deep within the cave for over 1,000 years. Nearby, in a remote forest outpost, troubled young ranger Danielle St. Clair, who is Serena Vincent, is struggling to confront the dark demons of her own. But when the creature is accidentally released from his secret tomb, Danny's inner conflicts meet a flesh and blood nightmare, a monster that hunts without equal, slaughters without mercy, and savors the taste of human torment. Now, the raid is over, and tonight, one woman must face and destroy its flesh-ripping fury alone. So, really fun synopsis for the movie. It rates. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Serena Vincent. Didn't we just talk about Cabin Fever? Another Serena Vincent movie? We're on a Serena Vincent kick here. It's all good. And next up on our list is, I keep saying one of my favorites, but it's true. These are all my favorites. This one is more of a lake-based slasher. So if you guys are maybe staying at a cabin at a lake or a lake house, anything like that, I would definitely recommend the Vinegar Syndrome release, Bloodhook. This movie just screams summer and lakes and fun. Definitely recommend Bloodhook. I mean, they kill you with a fishing hook. Like, it's amazing. It's fun. It's awesome. It says here, 17 years ago, Peter's grandfather went missing under mysterious circumstances. Now Peter and his friends have returned to the placid Wisconsin town to check out his inherited lake house and to partake in the annual Muskie Madness fishing competition. Soon after his arrival, Peter begins to sense that something isn't right, but none of his friends nor the local sheriff will believe him. Muskie Madness, what could be better? Nothing. Check out Bloodhook. You'll like it. It's fun. Only a couple movies left now, and of course you're probably wondering when I was going to talk about this one. This is kind of the standard, right, for outdoors, in the woods, lost movies. Of course, I'm talking about the Blair Witch Project. This movie needs no introduction. I need not read you the synopsis on the back. We all know this movie. We have all seen this movie. But I guarantee you, if you put this movie on your iPad, on your phone, when you're out camping, when you're at a cabin in the woods, you're going to get a little creeped out. And that's still fun. Was it like 30, 40 years later, maybe not 40, but like 30 years later, that's still fun and that's still awesome. So the Blair Witch Project definitely could not make a list like this without talking about that movie. Here we go. Now here's one of my hidden gems for you all, okay? This one is The Caller. This is another Vinegar Syndrome release, okay? Stars Malcolm McDowell and Madeline Smith. And this one is just a lot of fun, okay? It says here on the back, little synopsis for you. On a cold winter night, a woman living alone in the middle of the woods receives an unexpected visitor, a mysterious middle-aged man who asks to use her phone. Obliging the stranger, it soon becomes apparent that they might know more about each other than they're letting on. As hours and then days pass, the two become engaged in a series of bizarre and sinister mind games, uncovering unnerving secrets along the way. The first time I watched The Caller, I was not ready for that ending. Mouth agape, jaw on the floor. I did not see it coming at all. So I'm hoping it has the same effect on you. If you haven't seen The Caller yet, track it down. You can buy the Blu-ray from Vinegar Syndrome. I would definitely recommend checking it out, because when you think you have it figured out, you think you know exactly what is going on, the ending will blow your mind. Last but not least, one of my all-time favorites, probably in my top 10 movies of all time, and that is, again, the early 2000s. Are you sensing a trend here of what my favorite movies are? If it's not the 80s, it's the early 2000s, and that is Wrong Turn, starring Eliza Dushku. I just did the Wrong Turn t-shirt unboxing on my channel a couple videos ago. I have the Wrong Turn original one-sheet poster in my horror basement. I'm a huge fan, y'all. I'm a huge fan of this movie. Wrong Turn, group of friends are out. They take you guessed it, a wrong turn. And their car gets broken, gets stranded. They go off looking for help. And then the hillbilly cannibals come and kill them, eat them. Basically the plot of the movie. Super fun franchise. I don't know how many of them are now, like 5, 6, 7 movies over in the Wrong Turn series now. I don't know. But none better than the original, starring Eliza Dushku. There you go. There you are. My 13 movies that I definitely would recommend you check out if you guys are going camping, if you're going to stay at a cabin, anything like that, in the woods, if you're going tent, backpacking, whatever. Check these movies out. Watch them. You're not going to be disappointed. Just perfect summertime movies, okay? Did I leave anything out? I'm sure I did, because these are only movies from my personal collection that I wanted to use. That is it. So, comment below. Let me know your favorite movies like this that kind of fit this category. Which ones do you always have to watch if you guys are going to go spend some time out in the cabin or out in the woods at all? Let me know. I want to know, which movies should I pick up? Maybe there's something I don't know about and I should pick up. Let me know in the comments below. As always, go ahead and like, subscribe, and hit that little bell to turn on post notifications so you get notified every time I post a video. You can follow me on Instagram at Horror Sensei, on Letterboxd at Husker Sensei, and on Twitter at Haddonfield Sons. Thank you so much for sticking around with me and watching this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. And remember, until next time, don't get French fried. Bye, everybody.